Most freelancers think scaling means doing more. More clients, more hours, more services, more software, more everything. But that's usually how you end up earning more money, while somehow having less time, less energy, and less control over your business. Real scaling isn't about squeezing more work into your day. It's about removing the tiny points of friction that quietly drain your time every single week. In this video, I'll show you 5 micro habits that can make your business easier to run, more profitable, and far less exhausting. And the 5th habit is the one that keeps your business from slowly rebuilding all the chaos you're about to remove. Habit 1. Choose tomorrow's. 1. Revenue moving task. Here's the problem with most to-do lists. Everything looks equally important. Answering an email feels important. Changing the font on your website feels important. Reorganizing your project management system feels important. But none of those things necessarily move your business forward. At the end of every workday, choose one task for tomorrow that directly affects revenue, not 10 tasks. 1, and it might be sending a proposal, following up with a qualified lead, finishing the client project that unlocks your final payment, publishing the offer you've been delaying, or contacting 5 previous clients about additional work. Write that task somewhere you'll see it before you open your email, then complete it before the smaller tasks take over your day. This removes one of the biggest causes of freelancer burnout, spending 8 hours working without feeling like anything meaningful actually moved forward. You'll still have administrative work, you'll still have messages to answer, but your most important task won't be fighting for whatever energy remains at 4 in the afternoon. It gets the best part of your day. Habit 2. Use the 2-minute capture rule. Most distractions don't begin with social media. They begin with a thought. You remember that you need to send an invoice. Then you open your email. While you're there, you see 3 new messages. One message sends you to another website. 20 minutes later, you've completely forgotten what you were originally working on. Instead, use the 2-minute capture rule. When you remember something unrelated to your current task, don't immediately do it. Capture it. Put it into one trusted list in less than 2 minutes, then return to your work. That list can be a notebook, a notes app, a task manager. The tool doesn't matter. What matters is having one place where unfinished thoughts can safely wait. Your brain keeps interrupting you because it doesn't trust you to remember things. Once you create a reliable capture system, you don't need to hold every invoice, idea, request, and reminder in your head. You're not ignoring the task. You're deciding when the task deserves your attention. That small difference protects your focus without letting important responsibilities disappear. Habit 3. Process communication in windows. If you answer every message the moment it arrives, you're not managing your business. Your notifications are managing it for you. Every interruption forces your brain to leave one type of work, understand a new problem, make a decision, and then attempt to return to the original task. Even a quick reply can break your momentum. So instead of checking communication constantly, create 2 or 3 processing windows. For example, you might check messages at 11:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the afternoon, and once before ending the day. During those windows, process communication in order. Delete what doesn't matter, respond to what's simple, schedule what requires more work, and turn actual requests into tasks instead of leaving them buried inside your inbox. You can still make exceptions for urgent clients. But urgent should have a clear definition. A website being offline might be urgent. A client wondering whether you saw the logo revision they sent 14 minutes ago probably isn't. Set expectations in your onboarding process. Tell clients when you normally respond. Most reasonable people don't expect instant communication. They expect predictable communication. And predictability is much easier to scale than constant availability. Habit 4. Create one default for every repeated decision. Decision fatigue doesn't always feel like burnout. Sometimes it feels like spending 15 minutes deciding when to schedule a call, or rewriting the same welcome email for every new client, or creating a completely different folder structure for every project. Individually, those decisions seem tiny. Together, they consume an enormous amount of mental energy. The solution is to create defaults. A default meeting day, a default payment schedule, a default project folder, a default proposal format, a default onboarding email, a default revision process, a default place where clients upload files. You can still change the default when a project genuinely requires something different, but you shouldn't rebuild your entire process every time a new client appears. Start by paying attention to questions you answer repeatedly. What happens after I sign? How do I send you the files? When is the next payment due? How many revisions are included? Every repeated question is evidence that your business needs a clearer default. Write the answer once. Add it to your proposal, contract, onboarding guide, email template, or project portal. Then stop spending energy solving the same problem over and over again. This is how a solo freelancer begins building a business that operates like a system, not by automating everything overnight, by removing one repeated decision at a time. Habit 5. Perform a 10-minute friction audit every Friday. Here's the danger. Even after you simplify your business, the clutter comes back. A client asks for an exception. You add another software tool. You create an extra meeting. You start tracking a number that nobody uses. A few months later, your simple business has become complicated again. That's why the 5th habit is a 10-minute friction audit. Once a week, ask yourself 3 questions. What frustrated me this week? Well, what did I do more than once? What can I remove, automate, delegate, or turn into a template? Keep the audit simple. You're not trying to redesign your entire business every Friday. You're looking for one point of friction. Maybe clients keep sending files through text messages. Your solution could be creating one upload link. Maybe you're manually sending the same invoice reminder every month. Your solution could be enabling automatic reminders. Maybe calls keep interrupting your best working hours. Your solution could be removing those times from your scheduling calendar. Admit one small improvement every week gives you more than 50 improvements over a year. But even more importantly, this habit stops inefficiencies from becoming permanent parts of your business. Burnout usually isn't caused by one catastrophic day. It's caused by hundreds of small frustrations that repeat for months. The unclear request, the unnecessary meeting, the client who doesn't know where to send a file, the task you keep forgetting, the notification that breaks your focus, the process you recreate from scratch every single time. Your weekly audit catches those problems while they're still small. Here are the 5 habits again. Choose tomorrow's one revenue-moving task. Capture distractions instead of immediately acting on them. Process communication during specific windows. Create defaults for repeated decisions. And complete a 10-minute friction audit every Friday. None of these habits require a major business overhaul. You don't need a new productivity system. You don't need 12 new subscriptions. And you don't need to wake up at 4 in the morning. These habits work because they protect the resource most freelancers forget to measure. Your attention, your time matters. But 10 focused hours and 10 fragmented hours are not the same thing. When your business constantly forces you to switch tasks, remember unfinished work, answer repeated questions, and make unnecessary decisions, growth becomes exhausting. Scaling without burnout means increasing the amount of value your business can deliver without increasing the amount of chaos required to deliver it. That happens through small systems, small boundaries, and small improvements repeated consistently. Don't try to implement all 5 habits perfectly tomorrow. Choose the one that would remove the most frustration from your current week. Start there. Once it becomes automatic, add the next one. That's how sustainable growth usually happens. Not through one massive transformation, through small changes that make the business slightly easier to operate every single week. Take 10 minutes today and identify the biggest repeated frustration in your business. Fix that one thing first. And if you're working on building a freelance business that pays you well without controlling your entire life, you can subscribe and check out the next video whenever you're ready.